Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I don't know what this video is going to be about. I basically just wanted to film a video because I haven't been doing a lot lately and I want to film. I just haven't been very much inspired by BookTube. So I thought that I would go back to my roots and talk about the things that are the reason why I started this channel, and that is to talk about my excitement for some books I am currently reading or that I'm about to read. I actually forgot a book I need to fetch. And another thing I wanted to touch upon in this video is the fact that I have become very fond of my library. I have very consciously been trying to not spend money on books recently. I do still buy books occasionally, but I prefer to try and use my library and see if they have the book. And if they do, I am perfectly fine with getting it from there, because I feel like the past years I have become part of the BookTube book buying circle, which means that I have been buying too many books that I haven't had time to read, and the pressure from all of those books waiting for me has been too much, and it basically killed my reading joy. So a few months back I decided to change things a little bit with my reading. I began to take it slow and read at my own pace, and I also started slowing down on my book buying so that I wouldn't feel pressure from all of the books waiting for me on my shelves. I still have a lot of books to read on my shelves, but whenever you buy a stack of 10 new books, you feel like the pressure is even higher. And also with library books, I actually read the books as I borrow them, because I know they have to be handed back in a month. And it's a good way. It just feels nice the way that I've been doing things lately, and I feel like my reading joy is coming back. And actually, the book I was just fetching is a Christmas book I got from the library. I've already read it, so I'm just briefly going to mention it here. This is 7 Days of Us by Francesca Hornag, and it's a book that came to my attention. I just saw it in a video and I ordered it from the library. I read it and I really liked it. It was a book that gave me the Christmas feelings, and it was exactly the kind of book I was looking for during December. So definitely a book that I'm very happy to have read. Let's move on to the books I am actually currently reading. The first one being this one, which I have shown you in a previous video. This is the Danish cover of The Man Who Didn't Call by Rosie Waltz. I didn't know of Rosie Waltz previously, but my mother read this book recently and she said that I had to read it. So of course I wanted to, even though I do have my apprehensions when it comes to my mother's book recommendations, because sometimes she doesn't really hit the spot with me. But this time I really like the story. As you can see, I am reading the hardback, which is lying in my other living room, so I'm not going to fetch that one. But I'm halfway through it, and this is the book about a woman who falls in love with a man that she has only known for 7 days. But the thing is that this man never called back, even though they spent 7 really intense days together, and she knew in her heart that he was also into it. That's my cat Zeus wanting to play as per usual. So as I said, I am very much enjoying this book. It's got its share of love, but it's also got its share of intense storyline, and you keep on guessing what has happened to this man, because you think you know, but then something turns up which makes you think in another direction. So very much enjoying this book. So thank you, mother. This time you hit the spot. Is that even what you say? The next book I'm reading is a library book, and that is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh, the book that everyone seems to be reading or have already read. I also keep seeing it in bookstores, so I decided to check it out from the library. I'm more than halfway through it. This is definitely an interesting story about a young woman in New York who decides to rest and relax for a whole year in order to build up new energy and build up new ways to cope with her life. And she does this through drugs and sleep. She basically sleeps for days and days. A very interesting premise, which I think is very captivating, but the story has to captivate me 100% yet. I'm not there yet, but I definitely do see how this book is intriguing. Then on to some books that I have on my TBR from my own personal library, all the books behind me that I haven't read yet. First one being one of the books I actually bought recently, this one, the 4th book in the Murder Dublin, I can never get it right. The Dublin Murder Squad series by Tanner French. As I said, this is the 4th book, Broken Harbor. I'm very eager to read it. I just have to read the library books first, and also the books I have borrowed from my mother and my father, which I will show you later. My parents are definitely avid readers, and in the past years I've tended to not borrow books from them that they recommend, just because I have bought so many books for myself that I felt this pressure. But these days I'm allowing myself to borrow books from them that they really liked, and it feels great because those books are really good, at least the one I'm currently reading now. And also, actually, let me just show you the book I have bought for my father. This turned up yesterday. He showed it to me. This is the, well, actually I will have to look for I don't know the English title because this is originally Italian. It's by Ildefonso Falcones. I know it's the 2nd book in a series, but my father said that didn't matter. He read this book on its own and he perfectly understood it and he loved it. So I think this could be translated into something like The Heirs of the Earth, but I'm not sure that's the actual English title. I'm sorry. It's a huge book which is set in the 1300s in Barcelona, and that's all I know. I said to my father, is it really worth it, because it's like 800 pages long, and he just said yes. And he said that when you start reading you will not want to do anything but keep on turning the pages. So I think that sounds pretty good. And also I said to him, is it a book that is very much about descriptions of the landscape and the nature, etc., because that's going to be quite a huge book for that. And he said, no, you got it all wrong, just read it and see for yourself. So here we have it. I did say to him that I might not get to this book until January, but I can feel it calling my name. I feel like December is the perfect month to dive into a very huge book whenever the days are darker. Actually, it's getting pretty dark now. I hope you can still see me. You can, I know you can, but I keep on rambling now. So this is the book I bought for my father, and it is definitely on my TBR. The next book is one from my personal library, and that is this one, this gorgeous classic, which is the 2nd book in the series. I started reading the 1st book some months ago, and I read it, I finished it, I loved it. This is They Were Counted by Nicholas Banfi. It's actually a trilogy, and as I said, this is the 2nd book, which I really hope to be able to get to in December. This is a beautiful classic set in Hungary, and it deals with so many grand themes: love, revenge, the times of that era. I mean, this is about, I think it's about 200 years ago. So we are in a completely different society, and people and society works differently. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but anyway, I do have hopes to get to this book as well in the upcoming weeks. But we will have to wait and see. As I said, I'm not going to pressure myself too much. And then last but not least, I guess this is kind of a December TBR, but I'm not sure what I'm going to call this video. Anyway, last but not least, I do have 3 books on hold at the library which are on my way. So I thought I might just as well tell you about those books. First of all, actually I have 4 books on hold. You see, this is out of control. I thought that I was being sensible about my library checkouts, but it turns out that I have gone kind of insane. Anyway, it does inspire me to read a lot, knowing that I have all these amazing books waiting for me. So, very briefly, I have The Light We Lost by by Jill Santopolo on hold. This one takes place in New York around 9/11, and I have heard it's a great love story. I've been curious to read it for months now, so I thought now was the time. I don't know why, I just did. Then I have Rules of Civility by Amor Towles on hold, because I recently read his A Gentleman in Moscow. Really loved this one, and I'm curious to read more by him. The Night Watch by Sarah Waters, because I am interested to get even more familiar with her books. I love some of her books and I don't really like others of her books, so it's a pretty interesting mixture. But I heard about The Night Watch in a video about winter reading recommendations from Mercedes, and it sounded so good. It's basically a story told backwards, and it's about four different people in and around London. I'm not sure about this, but it just sounded really interesting and like a great winter read. So that one is coming from me as well. And then last but not least, I actually have a young adult book on hold, which is Love, Simon by Becky Alpatali. This one is the movie cover. So I think they changed the title into Love, Simon for the book, but originally it was called Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Anyway, I have this one on hold because I recently watched the movie and fell in love with it. So I knew I had to read the book as well as the second book, because Leah in the first movie which I watched was my favorite character. So I really need to know what's going on with her before the second movie comes out. I really do hope there is a second movie coming out. And that is it for all of my rambling and all of the books I am so excited about these days. Please let me know in the comments if there are any titles that you are excited about. And then until my next video, which might be my favorite books of 2018 video or my reading statistics of 2018, I don't know, but all of those videos I'm very excited to film in the upcoming weeks. But anyway, until those videos, have a great day everyone and happy reading.